Welcome everybody. We'll get started shortly. My name is James. I'm based in Hong Kong. I'm ably supported by my good friend Tim Hamons, who's based in Singapore. That's where we're joining you from. We also have a variety of iPads in support. This is going to be a fairly interactive experience. So I hope you all read the notes that Erica sent you. You're going to need some paper. Recycled paper is fine, of course, because it's a sustainability conference. And some marker pens. Look, you could steal the kids' crayons. You could borrow someone's lipstick. It doesn't really matter. Just something to draw or write with is helpful. And some paper. Just so you know, there's going to be some breakouts. There's going to be some group discussion. I'm going to interview some people. You're all like, oh no, I thought I could just watch. And when you go into the breakouts, you'll be interacting and drawing with each other as well. And then I'll interview you again when you come back. So I just want to set expectations. This is an interactive 40-minute session that you're about to participate in. Suddenly all the cameras go off. Ding, 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 ding. But of course, we would love to see you. So if you are actively participating, get the cameras on. You may have kids, cats, kitchens, chaos, whatever else going on in the background. So please stay muted unless you're going to jump in to share and talk with us. And then we'll get started. I believe it's time to rock and roll. Erica, give me a thumbs up if you say, James, please begin. Okay, that's usually the sign. Okay. No other real introductions. Instead, what I'm going to do is let Tim draw while I speak, and then we'll reverse that role a little bit as well. So we're going to demonstrate to you today what you can do when working with a graphic recorder, a visual facilitator in the room with you. And so let me begin by telling you a little bit about my story in sustainability. And if you've got the upgraded Zoom features, that means you could probably see two spotlit windows. One is where Tim will be drawing, and one where I will be just here. So let me tell a story, because it's storytelling, yeah? So I'm James, I'm a Kiwi based in Hong Kong, and I'm a learning experience designer specializing in game-based learning and gamification strategies. So for years, I told myself I wasn't really doing enough when it came to sustainability. I kind of felt like a bit of a failure. But looking back, I realized, like many of us, that I was in training and my story was not yet finished. So I'm a lifelong learner, and my mission is to make sustainability accessible and actionable for all. Now, I am a Kiwi. I was born in New Zealand. And in my early years, one of my first jobs was working in Fiordland National Park as a park assistant. I was part of a team building the Kepler track. We did flora and fauna surveys in Dusky Sound and the Darton Reese valleys. And then I left. And I've had a range of jobs, yeah. I was building outdoor adventure centers in Scotland, stone bothies, setting up and running call centers in Australia. I joined the Australian Army for a time. Don't ask, it's a long story. And then moved to Hong Kong, where I was running recruitment firms and regional language clubs for Disney before building a number of leadership training companies, which is what I've been doing for the last 15 years. But these years, I think a lot more deeply about how to make myself more sustainable and how to build a more sustainable business and to help organizations create their own pathway to sustainability. So part of what we do now is design or partner with game designers to move the conversation about sustainability into something fun and actionable, purposeful fun. And these are in-person or virtual. But today, we're going to do things a little bit different, and we'd like to get you to visualize your own sustainability journey to help you see the change you want to be. So while I was talking, Tim's just capturing that live, yeah? And so what we want to demonstrate to you is how powerful visuals in your story, beyond the PowerPoints, beyond the posters, beyond the icons that sit around us, what is the conversation you want to capture? So Tim, you ready, brother? Ding, there we go, nice little tag. Tim, I'm going to hand to you now, and I'd like you to tell your story. Where is Tim?
Let me unmute. There
you go.
Thanks, James. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, this is visual storytelling. See the change. So my story is about creativity and about observation. I was trained as a graphic designer, but as a kid, nature was a big part of my foundation growing up in the US and so the suburbs, nature was a foundation for awareness, for exploration, and for connection. And I've always loved art and drawing. So I remember as a kid, a profound experience when I was about 12 years old of observing and drawing a tree, a simple tree in my backyard. It was spring, leaves were coming out. There was a beauty, there was a transformation. And I sat and watched that tree and drew a picture of it for maybe between 6 to 8 hours, from early afternoon until evening, 8 p.m. or so. And so in that, there was some kind of a transcendent experience between, nature and self. And so I just share that as a context for my own relationship with nature. Growing up in the 70s and 80s in the US, there was certainly, you see the excess. And then later in the 90s, it's the questions of what do we do now about that excess, right, around the planet and resources. But for me, what I was always interested in doing creativity and in designing corporate identity solutions, it was not so much about the end result. The result is great, but what I enjoyed more than that was the process. And for me, the process was always about drawing, telling a story with a simple tool in your hand, a marker in your hand. And also, while I'm working with different organizations, I'm realizing, as we're trying to help them articulate their stories and their challenges, that there is growing gaps, right? And the gaps, I could say, is between the head and the heart. What I see and what I know and what I feel, and then how do I articulate that? And I said, I know how to do that using a marker, using creative tools to help articulate stories and help to bridge some of those gaps. We talked about some of those gaps today. So one significant example that I had was with United in Diversity. There's a collaboration between MIT in the US and University of Indonesia. And it was working with the tri-sector, the government, the business, and the social organizations to create sustainable change in Indonesia. So we created prototypes with different stakeholders around creating changes, around fishing, around tourism, around the environment, around some of the different SDGs in there. So that's one example that I had about seeing the change. So the opportunity for you today is to see the change, but also to draw the change. That's our little introductions. Thanks, James.
So for us, we think it's really important to be able to communicate clearly, and we've seen wonderful examples of that through music, through word, and through connection. And Zoom is allowing us to do this, and you can have more people join a conference than ever before and reduce the impact on the planet by doing that. But I would like to share with you some of the things we do in terms of why we think visuals are important and how they're powerful and how you might use them. And in fact, you might even see a few techniques that you think are worthwhile copying and using for yourself as well. Tim, would you like to walk us through the power of visuals?
Okay, great. So, certainly the question of sustainability, it's a complex issue, as the speakers have all been highlighting. So whenever we have complex ideas, where do they live? They live around us. They live in our head as data, as information, as stories. And when we can externalize that data, it helps us to do a few things. To clarify our thinking, we can then share those ideas with others to create a better shared understanding. Now we can begin to take that, your teams, your different stakeholders, and work on it and create a sense of co-creation and ownership. So that's what we're going to do today and give you the opportunity to draw out your stories and your story around sustainability. And that's the power of using visual thinking to help you to do these things.
So are we all ready? I hope you've got paper and pen. And I know half of you are finishing your dinner as well. That's right. As long as you can multitask, it's all good. Eat and draw. So paper and pen in hands. What we'd like you to do is think about if you were to draw something that represents you. If you were to draw an icon that infuses, I don't know, your superpowers, what's something that's unique to you? What would it be? So with pen in hand, I'll give you a few examples. I'll show the document camera as well. So on the document camera, Tim's got a few icons we're laying out. If you feel inspired by icons here, maybe you could mash up 2 icons that represent something for you. Or maybe you've got something in your mind already that you can capture. We'd like you to take a couple of minutes. Actually, I'm only going to give you 60 seconds. We'll give you 1 minute to draw you. Not you the person, but you the idea of you. I'll just play some music. So I'm a Kiwi that's lived out of New Zealand way too long. So I am searching for music, and then I just found, let's play this instead. You have 40 seconds left. No pressure. And what Tim and I always say, it's never about the picture. It's about the idea. Let go of perfection. "20 seconds. This is a judgment-free zone. It doesn't matter what you draw. It's the idea you're trying to capture on paper. Cool. I think we're ready, Tim. I think what we need to do is actually interview a few people, and but first of all, what I'd love everyone to do, if you're using a virtual background, it'll be hard to see your pictures on the camera, yeah? Because it'll just disappear. Thank you, Erica. That's beautiful. So could everyone please hold your picture up to your webcam, and I'm going to take a couple of screenshots. Now, there are pages and pages of Zoom windows, so just hold it up there so we can do a quick capture. All right, let me just grab this, and I'll drop them in the chat later so you've got it as a record. Hold it, hold it, hold it. One more page. Hold it. Hold it. See, you're all discovering virtual backgrounds are tricky. Thank you. Okay, you can breathe again. Hey, so I'd like to just interview you, and I want to demonstrate with you how we work together. Tim is a facilitator in his own right, as am I, and I do graphic recording, but he's a lot better than me. And so what I'm going to do is get him to draw our conversation that I'm going to have. So let's start with one of our speakers. Hey, Raywin, completely random. Did you have a chance to share, draw a picture?
I did, thank you. I'm one of those people who's terrified of drawing. You know, when you see the art
Wonderful.
material, I'm like, oh my God, don't ask me to draw. But I drew. Can you see there?
Talk us through it.
Well, I was inspired by one of your pictures there, and I saw the seed growing. And I've worked quite a lot, done a lot of thinking about my personal purpose. So I can say it in words. My personal purpose is connecting people and ideas for better outcomes for all. That's who I am and what I do. But here, it's a seed, and it's my heart growing. But there are others who are buzzing around it and finding their way and finding a place to rest and to be nurtured. That's what I would like to think is me.
How quickly or easily did the picture come to you? Did you see the image quickly, or did it evolve?
I think I was inspired. I was helped by the prompts when I saw it, looking through, thinking, no, I'm not driven. I'm not there. Like, oh, I see. That's me. I can grow. I love to learn. So that was probably just a moment of connection with that picture.
Raymond, thank you. And you know what you're sharing is something very real. 9 out of 10 adults say, I can't draw. But actually, everyone can. If you can draw a line, a squiggle, a circle, any of those things, it's just throwing those different shapes together. And what I noticed when you told your story, Raywin, is how much you came to life as you started identifying with a visual that represented you. Now, I'm not asking you to go out and get a tattoo with it, you know, but I do ask that you start thinking more about, so what does this mean to me, and how might it show up visually? Because it's a great way to tell your story in another way, because your slides had amazing pictures in them as well. So I know you love a good visual in support of that. Thank you very much. All right, let's be quite random and choose someone else. Anne Brown, are you feeling brave and bold? Good. So I'm going to put you on the spot, Anne. Thank you so much. And could you share with us your picture? Ooh, tell me
nice.
more.
It is a light bulb. Is a heart. And
is a light bulb with a heart, is that right?
In one half is a heart, and in the other half is a book.
Oh, nice.
Can we see again? Can we see again while you tell your story?
Pardon?
Can you show it again to the webcam?
Yes. It's very small, but yes.
Oh, nice.
And that's because I think I'm kind of in a moment where I'm trying to combine two halves of my life. One is a creative, having been a designer and still feel as though I'm a designer, but spending too long being an academic. And so I'm trying to recombine the two, but all under the kind of guise really of social entrepreneur is what I've written at the bottom.
Is this an image you've drawn before or thought about before to visualize?
No. No, I just
Nice.
thinking what sparks an idea is a light bulb, and that light bulb's got two things inside it.
Nice.
Nice.
I love that. Thank you very much. And you know, simplicity is the hardest thing of all. But what you've created is a simple, compelling image. And I have a feeling this image will stay with you as you think and unpack. If you are in this transition, use that as a guiding light for where do you want to go and what you want to do. Thank you very much for sharing. We've probably got time for one more. Dun, dun, dun. Random. Everyone's saying, don't pick me, don't pick me. What about David Irwin? David, do you feel comfortable jumping on camera and mic and share with us your picture? You can say no. Can you unmute as well? That would be great. Thank you. There we go.
How's that?
Yes, great stuff. Tell us a story. Ooh.
Ah, wow.
So, I once saw an octopus trapped in some rock pools, and it was comfortable in the rock pool, but would reach out to try and find another rock pool, and then it would move over land and into the next rock pool, and through about half a dozen rock pools and back out into the ocean again. I guess I know your question had me thinking about sort of reaching out into uncertainty and trying to explore places that we haven't necessarily been before or are comfortable in.
Mm.
So I guess that's what I was thinking.
Are you in that picture?
I feel pretty uncomfortable at times navigating. I'm an academic as well, and navigating a space and sort of education for sustainability is very uncomfortable at times.
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of work with universities around the world, like Brown University, Hong Kong University of Science Technology, Chiang Mai University of Science Technology, Nanyang Science and Tech University as well. And it's a common question that people are saying, well, you know, how do I, as an educator, what is the change I want to be part of? What's my role that I want to play? And I think we live in a most amazing time. And so please stretch out that tentacle, dip it in the other rock pool, see what else is out there. Thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate that. So I'm going to head over to Tim's magic hands, which are on the pad. Tim, would you like to share with us not just what you heard, but also what you saw as well? I know it's a bit of a mix as you synthesize these two things.
Thanks, James. And yes, well done, everyone, Raywin, David, and Anne. As James mentioned, 9 out of 10 adults have this conversation. One of the opportunities, which you've all taken to have a go, helps us to move that conversation a little bit forward, because as James also mentioned, it's not about the drawing, it's about the idea. And so one thing that I like to say is, if we're doing work that is important, how important is it that we get that idea across? Am I more conscious about what my drawing looks like? Or am I more conscious that 9 out of 10 adults will respond better to ideas that are presented with images? Or will I, and also notice that people are more engaged by something that is iterative, meaning stories, meaning drawings, as opposed to something that is finished and complete, like a PowerPoint slide. Not that one is better than the other, but you're engaging a different part of the brain. You're engaging an emotional connection to that idea. You're engaging people's curiosity around storytelling. It's a parallel to your storytelling. So if you have a great story to tell, here's another way to engage with it. So all I was doing with that was listening and drawing and synthesizing. And here's a really simple model about that. Is what you did, you saw a picture that I perhaps, one of them that I presented here, or some of us saw a different picture, the octopus in David's case. You see or look, then you see a pattern. Seeing a pattern is key to leadership, is key to change. And some of the speakers mentioned that. Then I select and show that. And that's pretty simply what you did with your drawing. I was just helping to synthesize that a little bit more with words and integration to create a visual story. So that's the opportunity that we're teaching you to embrace today.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey,
So
James.
I think they're now experts. We've warmed them up. I think it's time that we do something a little bit more challenging. And so what we're going to do shortly is we're going to send you into breakouts of 4 or so people, where one of you will be a storyteller and the others will draw. And but to help you prepare a little bit more, let's give you a few more skills under your belt. Tim's going, and we encourage you to follow along. Please draw what Tim is drawing, so that you can get a sense of what you can do in this room while you're capturing someone else's story, which is to unleash the superpower of listening and drawing itself. So let's spotlight your document camera, Tim. By the way, it's just an old iPhone on a claw. Yeah, so you don't have to spend a lot of money on stuff. It all works. Tim, take us through some basic icon drawing and the creation of a template that they can perhaps use as a spark for the breakout.
Great, thanks, James. So you've all got some marker and a paper. Please follow along with me. And whenever anyone says I can't draw, I say, can you draw a stick person? And if they say no, I say, I don't believe you. So I could invite you to draw a very small, humble little stick person somewhere in the corner. Very small. We're going to draw some other things bigger, just as a reference point. So it's important, I think, when you're drawing a picture around change, is to draw a human, draw a person in there. And there's different ways to draw a person. This is perhaps one really simple one. That's fine. But you can draw a much more, I think, more interesting and a more alive person when it has some shape and some content. So I call this a starman, a star figure. It's a 5-pointed star with a round head. So I invite you to draw with me. I'll start with the head here. And there's the star, right? Really simple, really quick. Starman, star woman, star person. And then I can create some other things around that. This is just a bubble, right? Like a thought bubble. This is a oval with a little bit of a hook, a speech bubble. I can draw a simple box in front of him like that, right? That's meant to look like a wall of some kind. I can draw arrows here. These are all containers for something else to come into it, some text and some story. I can even draw a simple icon of our Earth, because that's who we're talking about here. So I'll just draw that along with you. And you know, you can draw it as simple as this, some kind of random shape. That's good enough. So all you did really quickly is you drew 5 simple shapes here: star person, thought bubble, speech bubble, a box, an arrow, and our hero, let's say, is the glow. So I'm using a different color now, and I'm just going to share a few different highlights to talk into this. So certainly there is a lot of fear nowadays, right, with the global pandemic. New Zealand and Singapore are perhaps 2 of the countries that have been on the better side of this in terms of management and well, success, if that's the right word, than other places. But there's certainly a lot of fear of change when we talk about the environment and sustainability. So, you know, what is that fear and how does that live? But if we're looking at empowerment or change on a personal level, I can change my thoughts, certainly. I can change my words, what I think, what I say, and certainly I can change my actions. Those of you that do coaching, you would be familiar with these models, right? This is the model of change that helps us to take back our responsibility. So by changing my thoughts, words, and actions, I can overcome some of this fear. There's my little starman again. And I can embrace possibility. And you could say over here is some of the SDGs, right? Coming to life and so on. So very simply, we've just drawn these simple figures, a few words to tell a story. And in the process of doing that, there's also a transformation that's going on from something in the current to something in the future. There's change, there's transformation that is implied across that story. So this is a simple demo that you can then use perhaps when you working now with a partner, listening and drawing their story.
Thanks, Tim. So if you want to transform the world, which is what the SDGs are about, you've got to first transform yourself. And the best way to do that is to articulate your story. And visuals are really powerful ways to do that. So let's test your superpowers now. We're going to send you into breakout rooms. Let me give you the only PowerPoint slide I will ever show for today. and that is your instructions. The question you're going to, I'm such a rookie. Let me try that again. I apologize. Yes, Zoom, I've never done this before. Okay, hang on. Let me give the instructions again. So the instructions are, I feel like a drum roll's needed. Okay, so the question you're going to try to answer in your story is, what change do you want to see? This is a personal story. So you're going to be in a room with 3 or 4 people. One person needs to volunteer themselves to tell the story. The others in the room will draw the story that they hear or they perceive. At the end of the story, by the way, it only lasts 3 minutes. At the end of that story, give them a moment to finish their drawings and then to share their drawings back to the storyteller. Only one person will share a story while the others are drawing that story. Remember, it's not about the drawing, it's about the idea that you're capturing. And the question that person's trying to answer in their story is, what change do you want to see? Now, please don't spend the whole, it's only a 6-minute breakout. Don't spend the whole 6 minutes saying, no, you go. No, how about you? No, no, you go. You go. If you can't decide, could the person whose first name starts closest to the letter A in the alphabet, and then you might end up volunteering yourself to be the storyteller. It doesn't have to be. Someone maybe feel quite strong about it. But otherwise, if you take more than 20 seconds to decide, let the person closest to the letter A in the alphabet decide. Are there any questions about what you have to do? Good, that's enough information. I'm now going to send you to breakout rooms. I promise to bring you back in 6 minutes. One person tells the story, the others draw. Speak no more than 3 minutes. Please watch your time very tightly. We'll see you back here shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Some good smiles there. Thoughtful smiles. That's usually a good sign. Either that or you've got indigestion. I'm going to go with because you had a good time. So I'd like to just, we don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to interview just a couple of people about their experience. You probably all realize that it was alphabetical just to make life a little bit easier. So can I go, let's just go to the A's, the Alice, Allison, and Eleanor room. So who was the storyteller in the Alice, Allison, Eleanor room? Wave your hand. Alice Holmes was the storyteller. May I just quickly interview you? Alice, did you have a chance to see everyone's pictures shared back to you after your story?
No, I didn't yet. We kind of ran out of time.
Well, let's fix that.
Pretty much.
Let me fix that. If you were in Alice's room and you drew the pictures, could you please hold the picture up that you drew for her? So I'll start with Alice docking at the bottom here. Spotlight for everyone. Thank you very much. Love it. You might want to do. I'll do a screen. I'll do a screen grab for you, so you've got a copy of it. Hang on.
And you said you didn't know what to draw. That's great.
And isn't it amazing what people can do under really a little bit of? Yeah. And who else? Where's my other Alices and Allisons in the room? Please wave your hand so I can see you on the camera. Hello, Alison Loveridge. Could you share your picture that you did for the other Alice? Mm-hmm. Just up on the screen on the camera. There you go. Ooh, back a bit.
Oh.
Wonderful. Oh, you captured a lot.
Yeah, you've got lots.
She must have, that must have been a big story that she was capturing.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Alison.
Too much, maybe. Sorry about that.
And last, who was the other person that was in the room? Eleanor. Are you still here? Eleanor, are you on the next page? Maybe you're on the next page waving at me. Oh. So what does it feel like, Alice, to see your story in pictures?
Oh, I think they did a great job of capturing kind of the essence of what I was trying to say. And sometimes I think you get caught up in your ideas, and being able to see it visually like that definitely makes it clearer. Personally, I'm quite a visual person, so I like the idea of telling stories with visual aids. So yeah, no, it was great.
And how did it feel for 3+ minutes to have a group of people just quietly focusing only on you, only your story, and using visuals to capture it? What did it feel like to be deeply listened to?
Oh, no, it was it was quite nice. It gave me a chance to kind of reflect as well on you know, how I've come to this point, and like the holistic story, you know, because I guess you don't really have a chance very often to kind of try and put everything in a nutshell like that, and you've got such a short time to say. It's quite difficult, I think, to get everything in that 3 minutes. So the visual aid definitely, I think, is helpful, because it immediately conveys, you know, the kind of message you're trying to get across, and they both seem to pick up on that, which was great. Yeah.
We're a huge believer that visuals are really powerful, and it's not about, again, I keep reinforcing, it's not about the drawing, it's about the idea. And I think the one thing we love about this particular activity, though it's quite shortened, is just to be so truly listened to be so deeply listened to, now more than ever, to be able to experience that is probably the best gift we can give ourselves. Because again, with the Sustainable Development Goals, it's about transforming the world, but you've first got to start with transforming yourself. And getting in touch with your story visually can be one of the most powerful things you do. Thanks, Alice. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I know time is ticking away, and Erica's like, it's almost 20 past, James. Okay, good. So on behalf of Tim and myself, Tim, just say hello and thanks, and we're going to rock out of here. Where are you, Tim? Did you come back in the room? Okay. You need to unmute, sir.
Unmute. Thanks, everybody. All I want to say is every drawing is a gift. The work you're doing there's many gifts that you have to bring, and go out and do it with a marker in your hand. Tell your story.
Thank you again.
Got this message right. Thank you.
You did. It was
James.
awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Erica, I'm making you host again. You have the power. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you had a good session. Do something every day. Draw something. Learning visuals is like learning another language. Yeah. If you just go as far as, where is the bathroom, point me to the police station and all that, it's not enough. You need to keep adding to your vocabulary. Visuals are a vocabulary. Just doodle every day. You'd be surprised how far your visuals will grow. Thank you. And we'll hand you back to, where's our man? Corbin, back to you, sir.
Kia ora. Awesome session there, guys. We might just give it another minute or two. I just see our participant numbers are at 52-ish, but man, some talented people there in terms of drawing. I think not only have we found the future leaders of tomorrow and future entertainers, we've also found future artists as well. There's bound to be a Picasso or two amongst the audience here tonight. Erica, I'm just conscious that time is ticking. Shall we just get straight into it? If you just want to give me a thumbs up. Actually, wait, I can't see you on the screen.
Yep, you can
Fantastic.
carry on. I think people are coming back now, so.
Cool. So before we start to wrap things up tonight, I just want to everyone to take a moment to think around what's an action or something that you're going to do tonight as an individual. So again, remembering tonight's theme, focusing around seeing the change. And our next get-together in March 2021 is around being the change. What's just one little thing that you might start doing now, or start implementing, or like Lucy was saying earlier, finding your voice leads to action. And perhaps if you could just drop a comment or two into the chat, and as they start coming through, I'll share some of them. And while everyone's doing that, just want to acknowledge everybody for participating tonight as well. It's been an awesome session. Hope those that were involved in the SDG 101 session with Dr. Allen had an enjoyable time. I think we found a Picasso or two within our team in the shared storytelling, and my apologies. Other colleagues are leaving the campus and beeping their horns to say good night to me. They're probably wondering why I'm still here, actually. But so some of the things that people have mentioned so far: draw more. Yes, definitely. I think I've even realised that I've become a bit of or more talented on the drawing front than what I thought I might have been. particularly what my year 8 art teacher told me once. Do more on SDGs within my workplace. Okay, that's great. Maybe try and help my school to integrate drawing as a form of note-taking. Fantastic idea. I know I got through university through drawing notes or visual representations of notes. Learn more te reo. Kia ora. Yes, definitely on that waka. Little side note, Harry Potter came out in te reo a couple of weeks ago. Fantastic read. Even it's been a struggle for me. I've had to look up words in the dictionary every third or fourth line. Share passionately my ideas and listen, listen, listen. Ask a few of our local Christchurch politicians, what do they know about the SDGs? What will I do? Keep listening to all people. Listen, incorporate more drawing. Awesome takeaways that people are sharing with us tonight. Going to find a poster showing the SDGs to display in our offices. Perhaps if Erica's listening, she can drop in the link there. I found a very good image earlier. I'm having talks with funders to discuss a system change on how we fund NGO projects. There isn't enough front-end funding to properly scope projects and build impactful partnerships without preempting where the project will head. Also looking at the crossover between wellbeing health projects and sustainability projects. For example, currently working on a food security project for Waikato, which crosses across many of the SDGs. Find a willingness to act, never polarize. Currently negotiating with my university to benchmark the goals across the strategic plan, and they're keen. That's awesome. Great to see an institution like a university picking up the SDGs and looking at ways in which they can implement them. Talk about the SDGs in terms of te tiriti or waitangi. Again, that's been a reoccurring thing tonight, looking at forming those partnerships and working collaboratively. All these ideas of whanaungatanga. 3 Ps really, if you know much about the history of the treaty, the 3 Ps of the Treaty of Waitangi: participation, protection, partnership. Geez, that's the most important one and I could hardly remember it. Be brave and encourage others. Fantastic. SDGs in te reo. Wow, somebody's found a link to the SDGs in te reo. How cool is that? Looking at how to incorporate the SDGs into my daily activities. There's some awesome comments coming through on that chat, which will be available after tonight's session. We better start wrapping up. And then, again, just a little reminder around the second session that's happening in March. Save the date now, Thursday, the 25th of March. And remember, the theme for that second hui is Be the Change. Just want to mihi to our graphic recorder of the series as well, Kofi. She's been working hard behind the scenes creating visual resources, which you'll receive a copy of following today's session. And just a note as well that this series is evolving. And so we'd love to hear your ideas and feedback, and a post-event kind of survey will be circulated to all of you. So that's another opportunity to provide a bit of direction and be the change in terms of crafting this forum. And finally, just wanted to thank our co-hosts again, Te Whare Wānanga o Waitaha, University of Canterbury, and Te Whare Wānaka o Aoraki, Lincoln University, as well as our supporters, Ara Institute of Canterbury and Christchurch City Council. As well as our partners as well that have contributed to tonight. So that's again Tourism New Zealand, Christchurch New Zealand, New Zealand National Commission for UNESCO, Universities New Zealand, and Humanitics. Ka te ake, just again, another big mihi to everybody for participating in tonight and challenging yourselves, particularly those that were involved in the drawing and artistic works. And if we can get a bit of a visual show of either round of applause or shaking of the hands for our speakers. Pedram, Tamati, Lucy, and Raywin. Tēnei te mihia tu kia koutou katoa, nā koutou anō tātata nei hui I whakarewa. Otira, again, big mihi to all of our organisers in the background as well. The list is growing, so I don't want to name people. Also, I don't want to miss anyone out, but there's been a lot of people working in the background to bring this event to fruition. We've got about a minute and a half left, so we started with the karakia. It's probably only appropriate to finish with the karakia, but also as we won't be getting together again until March next year, Meri Kreki Meti, me ngā mihi o te tauhou Pākehā. Hope everyone has a safe and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, and look forward to seeing each of you at the March hui then. Seems weird to think I'm saying Merry Christmas now. This year's gone so fast. Hoi, unuhia, te pau kia wātea, e tāne hikina atu tō tātou nei kaupapa, kia whakairia noenga ki te kumete, ki te poho rangi nui e tui honei, turu awhiti whakamaua kia tīna, haumi e, hui e, tae ki e. Tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Colvin. Thank you.
Kia ora, thank you.
Kia ora, ka kite.
Kia ora, thank you.
Ka kite.
Kia ora.
Thank you.
Ko Māori e whānau.